President Marion, members and guests. It's my great pleasure today to just give you a very brief update on the J.R. McKenzie Youth Education Fund. So many of you may not know about this one. This is not the J.R. McKenzie Trust that the club is actively involved in. This is sort of the next tier down. So when the McKenzie family set up the various trusts, one of the things that was identified that was the cost of school uniforms was exceptionally prohibitive for many New Zealanders. So they set up an offshoot trust of the J.R. McKenzie Trust. So we do get a bequeath each year or some funding from there, as well as hold shares in Rangatira on a direct basis. And those funds that we receive, we distribute nationally to schools or school children to pay for their school uniforms. The trust, when it was set up, also paid for some additional items such as glasses in different districts, because each district has a little subcommittee, and our subcommittee is myself and Donna and Denise. And we basically receive a set amount of funds each year. I'm also one of the national trustees as well on this J.R. McKenzie Youth Education Fund. So we get about just over, a little bit over 300,000, which is then distributed to each of the districts, with our area getting just around, I think it's about $80,000. But actually the thing I wanted to talk a little bit more about today was actually what those funds do and the differences that they make. So we get applications from three main sources. We bulk fund schools now. So one of the things we did about, I suspect about 5 years ago, was actually look at how these funds were distributed. And up till that point, each club, each Rotary club, was able to receive nominations from individuals by way of an application form, and then would make a judgment and decide whether they would fund that person for a school uniform for their children. What we identified was that there may well be a better way to do that, so we've been bulk funding schools. And one of the early schools we funded was Porirua College, so we approached Porirua College and said, hey, there's a different way of doing this. And they identified that, yes, they desperately needed funds. And they needed funds for one particular area. And they identified, to start with, these were black shoes. So they were having a lot of kids coming to school without shoes, or they wouldn't come at all, because in the households in that community, who got up first got the black shoes, and that was generally Dad, who had a job somewhere. And then it might be Uncle or Auntie who needed some shoes, and then finally the kids. So they went out and brought, to start with, around, I think it was 30 pairs of black shoes, and they were then available so kids could come to school. So we're talking about New Zealand here, we're talking about Porirua, where people can't afford a $30 pair of shoes, and that made the difference. They've then moved on to jackets, to get warm jackets and various other items, so each year we fund those. Secondly, we get applications from the likes of Birthright, and Birthright will identify those in need and come through to us. Now, genuinely, as some of the stories that come through on those letters, I've actually been known to sit at my desk with tears on my eyes, reading some of the stories about the people that we have in this country that can't afford school uniforms. We're not talking private school uniforms. We tend to turn those grants down. We do get them at times. But, you know, if you can afford the school fees, you generally should be able to afford the uniform. The criteria of that we pretty much focus on is very, very low income or beneficiaries. Finally, we do get very few now applications in our area through the clubs. In other areas still they do have the club focus, where the Rotary clubs dish those funds out. So it's one of those important little subcommittees within this club that I think we make an absolutely magnificent difference to individuals in need. So thanks to my fellow trustees, and thanks, really deep thanks to the McKenzie family and what they did many years ago. So that's the J.R. McKenzie Youth Education Fund. Cheers.